the record. So here's our website. And all of this is just takes you more into information, my home page and information. So this is where yours will be housed when it comes, is up by tonight or tomorrow. Here on the side is the directory. So if we do the tag level classes, it'll take us to this site. So I'll just click, it will take us to that same page. And on that page, all of the classes are listed one right after another, you see? If you wanted to go to a specific class, there you could click here and that will take you to just the 8th. You see, now there's only the 8th. And you can always leave comments after each class if you choose to. We haven't used that too much, but it's a possibility. But if you want to now go back to see all of the classes, you just click on course classes, and now they're all there, one right after another, you see. The thing that I added this last week, and here's, this is the Crystalline Sprays coupon, and that's a download. Susan's the one who's worked with me on the Crystalline Sprays, and there's a 20% off of all of her sprays. So that's pretty much in all of my classes. But I added this because I thought it would be helpful if, and I'm sure it's going to come up, if all of the handouts were on one page. As you know, the handouts are on the class directory with each class. But here on this page, the handouts for class 1, if you want to go to class 1, you hit here. Same class 2, class 3, class 4. So you see all of the handouts, they're just all there together. So you can see all of them. If you want to go to the class, back to the class, then you can click here, and that will take you to that specific class where the handout is there too. So I just wanted to, I think it's simple enough that if this, the material will be up and available to you, probably for the next year, really. If you want to go into level 2, level 3, that will be a separate, but it'll be structured the same way. So you'll have the continuum for all of those classes. So that is the new edition, which is called Class Handouts. Okay. I'm going to show you a book I read and reviewed that I was totally surprised by when I first found it. This is a book that was written, the manuscript was written in the 1930s by Napoleon Hill. Now, are any of you not familiar with Napoleon Hill? Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. It was all about how do you focus to make a difference in your world. He interviewed people, usually men, who were doing successful things, making money. What are the successful things that they were doing? So Napoleon Hill has been used a lot and is still used a lot for how do you be successful in your life. Well, what Napoleon Hill was also is he was intuitive. I mean, he was telepathic. He heard voices and did journaling. So in 1930, 35, maybe 30, so he had a manuscript that contained dialogues he'd had with this unseen person who told him his intention, the way he is working, et cetera, et cetera. And he termed this being the devil because he had intentions of, like, he had no compassion, control, manipulation. That's what he did. So when I read this book, I was like, oh my God, I've had similar dialogues with outsiders. This isn't the devil. This is the outsider. This is he was dialoguing with those beings, and maybe just one touch point, telling him all about their agenda and what they were doing and who they had control over. So this is in 1930. And so he brought the manuscript and had his wife read it, which wasn't unusual with his manuscripts. And she read it and she said, "You will not publish this book in my lifetime." So he didn't. So he put it in his library, waiting for another time and place. He died, his wife died, and now his cousin is the director of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. He finds the manuscript, he reads it, he takes it home, his wife reads it, and she said, "You will not publish this in my lifetime." Okay, put it back on the shelf. 2012, now we have a whole bunch of new directors over the foundation. They find the manuscript and they read it and they say, "This has to be made public." And so they publish it. So this book is called Outwitting the Devil. And the reason it's important for me anyway is because, oh my gosh, there he saw it too. He talked to them too. And so this is an ebook that's kind of a review of his book. And so here we go. Why I believe it's important, how I recognize the voice, distinguishing devil, knowing is the devil in your life. The devil describes himself, outwitting the devil. Now here, how many people out there in the world for many years, I won't name names, but there are people out in the world who have been saying, there's reptilians around. There's conspiracy going on. There are blank, 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 and blank, blank, blank. And what I always say is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And it's like, no action taken, just like, oh, just tell everybody to be afraid and tell everybody to, where Napoleon Hill at least had an idea of how to stay out of the devil control. You see, outwitting the devil. He has an answer. Now, granted, his answer is not our answer, but he was in a male body that was owned by the parasitics. It was 1930. Women weren't even stepping into their power right now. They were waiting for men to fix it for them. So basically, his solution was a solution that we've used for many, many lifetimes: is stay small, stay hidden, keep your mind focused. I mean, just kind of like avoid and hide kind of thing. But it was at least an answer. So I found it very, very interesting. It's a simple read. It's kind of a fun read. Like, wow, this is so similar to what I get when I talk to those beings, about what's up to. But he really took time to investigate and interrogate and talk to and get answers. So I'm going to include that ebook. It's on the website, and I'll include it also as an attachment when I tell you that the video is up. That's what that's about. So I'd suggested that everybody come with one or two issues or repeating patterns, something that's still a little bit bothersome to you. So do you all have an issue or a pattern? That's anybody who doesn't, raise your hand. We'll give you time to figure one out. We've been practicing, by practicing the evolutionary blueprint, it's getting you that's very much how you will be doing a tag basic session. So, you've been practicing a tag basic session by doing the evolutionary blueprint. What we're going to be doing in the rest to the end of this course, of the 3-month course, is the other components of a basic session. So I'm going to share screen. You'll have this as a handout too. So remember, we've talked before that your client comes to you with an issue. So I want you to have that issue. What is an issue for you? Just write it down. See, And what we're going to we'll practice is asking to be shown what was the trigger. The trigger is a pattern, so the trigger is a pattern very similar to what's stored. So it might be that you interacted with a girlfriend and there was a lot of joy and happiness and creativity, and all of a sudden you went into fear and turned off, which doesn't make sense. But yet it does make sense when you go like, well, in this lifetime, I was burned at the stake because I worked with women, you see. So here you're going to have an issue. You're going to use this model that says, let's see, where is it up here? Oh, I've got it in the chat. I'm the client. Let me get this out of the way. So you're going to be the client. I'm going to put this in the chat, and you're going to have about 15 minutes in which you're going to use your pendulum. Is great. I would hope you'll use your pendulum. And the questions you're going to ask, you're going to say, I'm the client, so you're going to be female. Who is the other that was involved with this pattern? Was it a male or a female? Was it a friend or a family or authority? So you can identify what that other was just by title. And then what did you, here it's you, you're the client, what did I sense or feel or experience from the other? And you'll get a color. What was my client or my reaction? And what was I left with? And because I was left with turn off, I believe life isn't safe, for example. So I'm going to put that down in the chat. And then I'm going to share the screen with you. Let's see. First of all, I have to turn on this application so you get a sense of it. And I don't know that any of you have done this yet before. Okay, there we go. So don't worry if you don't do it perfectly. You're only going to learn by doing. So you're going to ask, so you're the female. This is how I shorthand it. So you're female. So you are the female. The other, then you ask, was the other male or female? So we'll say male. Okay. Was this male family member? I usually start with family member. No. Friend, no. Authority figure, yes. So it's an authority figure. And again, because I want to get done as much as possible, be as effective as possible, but quickly, I don't ask for the full story. You may want to do the full story, be shown the story, see it act out. That's totally fine. I just shorthand everything. So you're a female. Was the other male or female? And then you ask, what did I feel from this male authority? And I'll just make something up. So muddy, orange, which is I felt control. How did I respond? I responded with muddy, stress. And all of these you can get through using your pendulum for sure. And what was I left with? I was left with maybe fear, which would be muddy red, I believe. I was left with fear, or we'll say I was left with muddy yellow, which is pain. I had a headache. Whatever this is what I want you to go after. Okay. What's your issue? Okay. What's the pattern from that issue? So this is, it doesn't have to be of this lifetime. It could be that they're showing you a pattern and experience from another lifetime. Doesn't matter. You just want to practice getting how you would get the pattern for this issue. I'm going to go do one more thing here.
I have a question.
Yes, Orlantha.
It's Jay.
Oh, I can't see because I'm over here. Hi, Jay. Yes.
Me and Arlantha, we must be like sisters. So my original intent for this is a trigger that I give myself. Is it, so would that be like female, or
I don't know. That's, that's why it's interesting to not know and yet just hear what they are telling you. Okay.
oh, okay.
So you don't know what it is. So first of all, I'm going to have you remember the issue, whatever, because this is what you'll do with when a client first connects with me and makes an appointment. One of the first things I do is I put their name on a paper, triple Cocoon, triple, I get them surrounded, protected right away. I write down their issue and I put it in an ice cube right away. I might not be able to work on them for maybe a day or two, but I'm going to bring in the team, say protect, freeze frame the issue. I'm going to work on it as soon as it's on my schedule to do that. So do that for yourself. Put your name, Cocoon, put your issue, money issue, relationship crashes, don't feel good enough, whatever the issue is, put it in an ice cube. And now you're going to start with down here. I'm a female, so I'm assuming it's an experience I had as a female. I would probably even ask, is this correct? Because if they take you to another lifetime, it may be a male issue. You may have had this in another lifetime. So if it's this lifetime, you're definitely female here. So I'm female. Is this issue going to be in this lifetime? And if they say no, then ask it, was I female in the lifetime you're going to show me? You see? And if they say yes, then you leave female there. Who's the other? Was it male or female? It was male. Okay. You don't really have to find out family member. You can if you want to. You don't have to. That's not really important right now, but you can. What did I feel from that male energy? You felt muddy orange, and that muddy orange was either hopelessness or control or deceit. It was control. How did I respond to that control? We'll say muddy blue this time. Emotional pain. You don't have to write down emotional pain, but that's what it means. And then what was I left with? Well, I was left with muddy, not available. I just turned off. So here, then that pattern, when you see what that pattern is, you can just in this work today, not in the session, but today, you can just say deep six, tag team, deep six, PTO, deep six. And that's what I want you to have, like within, in this 15 minutes that I'm going to let you just be in 15 minutes to get this much done. Client circled, issue ice cubed. What's the pattern? Turn it over to the PTO and the tag team. And then we'll come back together and see where you are with that. Now, do you all have the color chart for the colors? Because I can put that in the chat too. Because do you know how the color, well, and what I could also do, let me do this too. I could bring up the color chart and put it on a share screen, and then the definitions. So that you can just read it off of the color chart is really easy to make. And I'm going to put the definitions in the chat. So I think that you'll have what you need in order to do that. So the definitions of the colors are in the chat. I'm going to put up a share screen of the chart itself, so you can either make your own or use this one. So that's the color chart. It can be muddy or blue. It'll swing. And then you say, is that muddy or is it clear? You see if it's along this line, you'll have to ask, is that red or is it purple? And then you see in the chat are the color definitions. If you have this, on your own computer, of course you can. It might make it a little easier, but for those who don't. So any questions before 15 minutes by yourself? And if you get one issue pattern and have time, do a second issue. Sometimes it's really surprising. Okay, so the time. So we're going to come back at, let's say, 20 after the hour. That's only 10 minutes, but I think that will be enough because I want to have time for you to give feedback. So 20 after the hour, see what you can do in this 10 minutes, okay? So I'll see you back then. So we just got a couple of minutes left, so just timing for you. And if you need, a little bit more time, I'll just hold space for that other 2 minutes if there's any questions that you want to ask before. Okay, so. Okay, are we ready? So let's just go around and again, popcorn. Well, no, let's go around with tagging each other because it goes a little more quickly. And what was your experience? Was it what you expected? Was it different? Was it difficult? Whatever your experience was. Susan, let's start with you. Is that okay? Just a minute. Okay, go ahead.
I started with my issue, my trigger, bitterness in my gallbladder, since that's always a huge indicator and there's residue left there. It was in this present time. It was another female. And the shocker for me was I went right to family. I thought I knew who it was. I was gonna pin it on my mother, but I got a stranger. And that, I kept going back and like, wait a minute, clarity, stranger, seriously. So I got stranger. So that threw me for a loop. What did I feel from it was deceit. How did I respond was powerless. And this threw me off as well. What was I left with was discounted spiritual existence. So yeah, so kind of was like, whoo, very interesting. Nothing that, I would have when I started with it.
Good.
So
Before you pass, while you're kind of sitting there, what would be so here you are, somebody, total stranger, and what you felt from her was what?
bitterness,
and your response?
deceit.
Like maybe you had to hide who you were. Maybe like have to go into deceit, which is the survival mechanism,
Right.
And pretend. I have to pretend or have to believe that spiritual existence isn't even there. It's like this whole concept of spiritual is stupid and not, you see what the story is. So that you get to choose. Do you keep that? Do you want to keep that? And if not, then that's where you write a reality statement that I am clear in my experience and in my presence. I have connection to spiritual, whatever, so rewrite it. And the same with all of you. I'm just going to use Susan as the first. So that's where you take it. And what's so valuable about this is like you assumed to be something about your mother. And if you get out of the assumption game, out of the read the book and apply it game, and say, what is it for me in this particular situation? it's not, it's very common that, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Now you can tag somebody, Susan.
I'll tag Audrey.
Okay, so I thought I knew it too. I thought it was in this lifetime, and it wasn't. And I was a man, and the person was a female, and it was about commitment. And then it was red muddy, which is fear, chaos, correct? And then the reaction was, what was I left with? I was left with deceit. And then I was left with chaos and fear.
So here you are, you were in a relationship with a woman who wants commitment. And you're afraid as a male, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want that or whatever. And so fear and chaos. And so what I've got to do is I've got to pretend. I might pretend that that I love her, or I might have pretended that I'm sick and I have to leave. And
Yeah,
so,
okay, yeah,
so you get to write it differently so you can heal that.
right. So what I did was I collapsed it through the timelines too.
Yeah,
The
totally.
deep sixed it, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Now the reality statement to anchor in a new.
thank you. And I tag Jay.
Yeah, I think I chose something difficult, but at the same time, it was really easy. And because it was easy, it became difficult. So it's from this life, and it's it's with me, but it's just a part of me. The feeling I got was muddy yellow. So, powerlessness. And my reaction was smoky white, and I gathered stress. What did I believe from this interaction was muddy yellow, powerlessness, or no? What was my client? I don't know. I have all these like little, I did the shorthand thing and I don't know what it means.
Muddy yellow isn't powerlessness, it's physical pain or illness.
Oh, I got, okay. And then the last one I got, which was the belief, was muddy green.
I'm not good enough, doesn't work. I'm not
Oh,
enough.
and then that's the next one I went for was I'm not good enough.
Yeah,
That's funny.
now,
Okay.
now let me ask you this. So when you said it was this lifetime, so it's you, but was the other a part of yourself? Perfect. Now that doesn't come up very often.
Mm.
It's like, but it's not uncommon that in this hard situation, we give permission to a part of our energy stream to take on a job description. I call it an aspect of yourself.
Yeah.
So for example, tell me, so you felt what, and then what was the response? Go through that again.
Well, I asked if it was of this lifetime, and it was yes. And I said, is this a part of me? Is this an aspect of me? And I said, yes.
Okay. And so what did you feel from that aspect?
It was actually kind of a masculine, like
Mm-hmm.
energy of like, you're never gonna get it done. The only way that you can take a break is if you're sick.
If you're sick. Right. Okay. So it's like that. When we create an aspect of ourselves, it steps in it like it's a different individual with a different agenda. And that's what happened for you. So that this is you've created it to give yourself a reason to not do or to whatever, to be safe, and it's to be sick. And when you're sick, then you get to get out from under any expectations but you're left with, you're not good enough, but you're left with, I can't do it, or I'm not lovable. So you get to rewrite that whole thing and give that aspect the new, release it, say your job's done, thank you, you did it really well. And that would be a little bit different than if it were another person, because you can say to an aspect of yourself, thank you, I don't, you did the job, and now you're complete, so you get to go to the light. And now the new statement is what, you see. Okay, who are you going to tag?
Deborah.
Thank you. So when I did it, it was this lifetime, so I'm female. And the trigger was a male, that family. And what I sensed was muddy orange, which was control or manipulation or powerlessness. And I responded with green, clear green, which is unconditional and holding all good. And what was I left with was muddy yellow, which is physical pain. And I didn't know what the colors meant when I was doing the chart. I just wrote them down and then went back. So I don't know then how you do a reality statement. Is like, I don't have to go into pain when I experience control, or
Well, so when you're in the presence of someone who is manipulating and controlling, and you bring this, because it reflects a pattern from other lifetimes, no doubt, but we're just doing this issue. So I'm clear, I'm bringing all love, and then the expectation of I'm going to fix you is maybe what you need to let go of, so that in the face of those who are stuck in control or in pain, I send them my love, put them in the hands of their team for healing, and stay strong and clear in my focus. Because in other lifetimes, probably what happened, and you could even explore that in other lifetimes, when you stood to help those who were controllers, they just kept controlling until you were weakened, until you became sick, and that took you offline. And so the way to write it would be, say, I recognize that when people are in pain or even controlling, I place them in the hands of divine love with their teams. You write it how you do it differently, and I stay strong in my presence.
okay.
And then
Thank you.
Who are you going to tag?
I tag Arlie.
Well, first off, my pendulum and I have been having a fight for a long time. It was only a few days ago that I heard that, oh, your pendulum doesn't work because you don't need it. I was thinking, sounds like bullshit to me. So I had a discussion and said, yeah, but I want to use it. So, and guess what? My pendulum worked today, which was a major surprise to me. So this is a this life problem. It was with another female. What I sensed was that she didn't like me. She thought I was pretty useless. And penduluming, muddy blue, emotional pain, imbalance. My reaction to her was muddy yellow, physical pain and illness. And what I was left with was feeling discounted spiritual existence. So for a reality statement, I would reaffirm that I actually have a really good spiritual existence, and that I am strong in the things that I do sense and feel, and I'm able to act on them powerfully.
Mm-hmm. And the other part of that would be maybe another one that said, those who are lacking spiritual maturity, you could just say something like, those who are lacking spiritual maturity like Deborah, I place in the hands of their team. I see, and in other words, I don't buy it, but I place them in the hands of their team. And I stay with my presence and connection to strong spiritual awareness and wisdom. So I'd add that one little piece.
Okay, now she's dead.
That's
Do we
okay.
care?
That's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't matter because how when you think about her, or when did she carry that kind of energy for you, a discounting energy for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, so it's just saying to you there's still a pattern there, and the pattern, you can see it with this story. So you have the opportunity now to heal the story, but also she represents others who might show up if you don't rewrite that part of the story. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Who
Got
next? Who next, Darlie?
it. Orlantha?
I have a question. How do we know if the color is clear or muddy?
You ask. Yeah, so you'll only get a swing. Let's say the swing is green, and then you say, I just say one word. Is it muddy? You don't have, then if it's not muddy, then it's clear. So get the swing and then ask either, is this muddy or is this clear? Either one of those. And if the answer is yes, then it's clear. If the answer is no, then it's muddy. And that's how you know.
I see. Okay. I was having phone issues and I kind of missed half the assignment, but it was in another lifetime. So my pattern is repeated failed relationships.
Mm.
And it was from another lifetime. To the triggers male. And the only thing I asked is how did it leave me feeling, and it swung to blue. And I didn't get to ask if it was muddy or clear.
Okay. So I would go through it, because what you sensed from him is important to know. How you responded to him is important to know, as well as what you're left with. And then that will give you what is that you want to reframe. Okay. Totally get the phone thing though. Who next, Orlantha? We got, I think, what, two more. Susan, have we done you? I think Audrey and Susan. Audrey, you're on, right? Audrey, did you go?
We're all done.
Yeah,
That's everyone.
we're all done.
You did great. Now, my suggestion is that this coming week, that took you like 10 minutes or less. I don't know how long it took you, but I gave you 10 minutes. I would suggest that you write down some of those issues. This is called curiosity. Write down some issues for you. And then just take 10 minutes, sit down, go through the process, because you're strengthening that language for you. And even if, some who take the tag, have done the tag facilitators, never did do tag work. And you may never do tag work either. It doesn't matter. You'll do it on yourself. So practice, maybe 4 or 5 issues and use that process, reframe it, tag and transform Deep Six, and then you'll be ready for what's coming next week. Any questions? Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so committed and on top for yourself and those around you. And we'll see you when we see you again. And our circle is closed and ready for us to move into our lives. Much love, everyone. Bye.
Hey, thank you, Sharon. This was an incredible amount of fun.
Wasn't that fun? It's really fun.
I know, it's just that smile-inducing thing. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, loves.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.